Hi everyone, this is Wes Gill from StorageCraft going through some troubleshooting for the SPX integration to ConnectWise Automate. I'll start with how to check the plugin versions and status. In Automate Control Center, open the Plugin Manager, clicking on System, Solutions, Plugin Manager. And for SPX, there are two required plugins, StorageCraft Plugin and StorageCraft ShadowProtect SPX Remote. Check the version numbers here and make sure the plugin status is enabled as shown with these green check marks. If they're not enabled, you can enable them by clicking on the row and clicking Enable. Next, ensure the plugins are loaded. So under Advanced, Reload Plugins, Reload Control Center Plugins, and then after doing that, you would close and reopen Control Center. And to make sure the remote plugins get loaded properly, you would do Update Remote Agent Plugins, which would also restart the Automate database agent. If you have computers with SPX installed but are not detecting the SPX roles, we need to make sure the role definitions exist. And in Automate Control Center, click on System, Configuration, Dashboard, then navigate to Role Definitions, clicking on Config, Configurations, Role Definitions. These should all install properly with an update of the solution, but if something goes wrong in the solution update, we just want to check and make sure everything is present. So we check for the two roles, StorageCraft ShadowProtect SPX version 6.3 and below, and then similarly version 6.5 and above. If the roles are not present for some reason, inside the troubleshooting guide, we can grab the appropriate SQL statement to create the role. And if we have a database editor, we can just execute the command in a database editor. If you do not have a database editor, you can save the file or save the command to a file, just a regular text file. And then inside of Automate, under System, General, Import, SQL file, we would select the file and hit open, and it would execute it. And then if we come back and refresh this list of roles, we should see the role. If the roles are present but you have computers that show not having the SPX role, it's possible that the role remote plugin records failed to install during an updated solution. Unfortunately, there's no way to really see that inside of this dashboard, but we can simply insert the new role remote plugin records. This would be in the troubleshooting guide. And all these are is they link the plugin to a particular role, and then it would deploy the remote agent DLL to the remote agent machines. So we would save this similar to what we just did before to a file and execute it. So after taking those steps, we can force an immediate detection of role and remote plugin installation, or force a computer to detect the role and update the remote plugin. If we go to a computer management screen and send it the command under inventory, update config, the command inventory resend system info, and then finally update plugins. The computers should detect their roles automatically during a nightly refresh cycle, and you can always go back to the plugin manager the next day and do the advanced reload plugins, update remote agent plugins to make sure it immediately shoves the new remote agent DLL to the remote agent machines that are in the role for SPX. Next, I'll show you how to check the remote agent, receive the plugin, and see the status, and also cover how to reset the information stored in the LabTech database and also in the remote agent's local database of information. So on a machine running SPX, which I just switched to in C Windows LT SVC plugins, you'll see SPX remote.dll. And here's where you can check to see the version of the file, and it should match what was in the plugin manager. On the Inside Control Center and the plugin page for StorageCraft, this little settings window, if you click it, you will see, you should see a message saying the plugin is initialized and running and the version number. And this is when I reset it just a few moments ago, or I updated the plugin, so it reloaded it. And then if you ever have a question as far as, hey, is this, if this information in here doesn't seem to be updating properly in backup history, there are some cases where an old version of the plugin had some data that was kind of in the way and might cause the new version of the plugin to not send the data correctly. Under the settings window, you can click on the ShadowProtect SPX tab and click on reset, and that'll clear all the data from the remote agents database and from the LabTech database for this computer. Log file locations. If you're having an issue, and it'd be very helpful for support to have the log files associated with this plugin on a machine running SPX. The log file is located in C Program Data LabTech SPX, and it's called backup.spx.txt. You zip that up and provide it support. That'd be very helpful. It's also helpful if you increase the log level for the machine. That's under the plugin settings page again. Set it to errors, which is the most amount of logging, and you would hit save to apply that. On the Automate server itself, the log files are located C Windows temp. They're named LTASP.txt and LTASPold.txt. By default, these files are very small, and to increase their size in the Control Center under Help, Server Status, if you double-click Advanced Server Control Commands here, set this max log file size to 5,000 and hit Save and Restart Database Agent. Lastly, there are several database indexes needed, 6 at the time of this video, to ensure optimal performance, and they should be installed with a solution update, but we can check to make sure that they're installed properly by running a command that's listed in the troubleshooting guide here. We will need a SQL editor for this, and if we run this query, we should see the 6 index names here in our query result. If we do not see one of them, we can create the index by taking the appropriate statement found here in the troubleshooting guide and putting it into our SQL editor and executing it. This one will fail on me because the index is already present. You could also save this command to a file and execute it using the Control Center System General Import SQL file, pick the file, and execute it. That is all for the troubleshooting guide at the moment, and if you have any issues, send those log files to support with your problem, and we will try to take care of them right away. Thank you.